Hey everyone, it's me, Katie-Beth again, and today we're outside Lizzie Borden's house. So my best friend Bo and I, growing up, we had a strange curiosity about this because her mom told us that in England they used to sing a nursery rhyme. I think it was like a jump rope game with like Lizzie Borden gave her parents 40 whacks and like you count like 1, 2, all the whacks she gave them, and it's a cute little nursery rhyme. But it's about the girl that lived in this house and slaughtered her family. So, how many of you already know about Lizzie Borden? Here in Southern California, she's not known super well, but worldwide, she's one of the most famous female axe murderers, or murderesses. Actually, when I think about it, she's the only female axe murderer that I know about at all. But with the slight catch that there's no proof that she actually did it, and there's no proof that she didn't. Lizzie Borden was a 32-year-old unmarried woman who lived with her father, stepmother, and also unmarried 41-year-old sister out in Fall Rivers, Massachusetts. And I'm just going to pause myself right here because I found a TikTok from Christian Brightly that reminds me a lot of the feeling I got from this.
I know what it is like to be in your mid-20s, unmarried. Hag at 24, crone at 25, spinster at 26, at 27, one last chance to be married off to a syphilitic admiral. And if you reach the age of 28, unmarried, you are legally required to declare yourself as dead.
And while I was out in Boston seeing a Red Sox game, of course I had to go over and stop in Fall River and check out her murder house. As you can see, the neighborhood has changed quite a bit since the late 1800s. This is what it looks like today. And this is the back of the house and what's left of the backyard. That barn is where you meet up for the tours and is also the gift shop. So after meeting up in the gift shop for our tour guide Jay let us in through the front door. And then he led us into the front sitting room. And this is actually the room where the cops told Lizzie that she was one of the suspects in her parents' murder. And those were the cops. And then this is the other sitting room, the one in which her dad was killed on that there black couch. Yep, that's the one. And they also let you sit in it and take pictures if you want. So of course this is your girl laying on the couch pretending to be her dead dad. Very old taste, I know. And here's the actual picture of him. This was the guest room of the house where the mother's body was found. And it was pretty much where Jay's standing now. And you can lay there on the ground in the spot if you want. Now this is the view that was brought up during her trial. Prosecutors had said there was no way she could be standing up at the top of the stairwell as her maid had witnessed her doing earlier that morning and not have been able to see her mom's dead body on the floor. But I honestly wouldn't know if I was just looking downstairs and walking by. So I can kind of see her point on that. Another angle that was brought up during her trial is how could she not hear her mother's body being beaten in on the floor right above her? Well, Lizzie said at the time she was downstairs ironing handkerchiefs. She doesn't really seem like the handkerchief ironing type of person to me, but who knows? On one hot August afternoon in 1892, Lizzie's parents were found dead, with their heads smashed in. And pretty grossly, the museum and internet, I'm only going to show it because you can't really tell what's happening, show a lot of the crime scene photos of their bodies. But because photography and lighting were so bad at the time, you can't honestly tell what these things are unless you're like really looking. But even the gift shop sells like shirts. I got this one with Lizzie, but they have shirts with like her dead mom's body on it, or her dad with his head smashed in, and somehow that's okay. And I think it's okay because, again, photography was so bad you couldn't see what was happening. And look at this gem I found at the gift shop. It's a game of Who Done It with Lizzie Borden Clue. I haven't opened it yet, but pretty excited to. But let's back up to get more of her history. It looks like the skulls were smashed in with an axe or hatchet, but honestly, no one really knows because the murder weapon was never found. But they're thinking it was an axe or hatchet because during one of the autopsies for the bodies, first of all, the first autopsies were done in their eating area, like their kitchen dining room, and the bodies were just laying out there. in August with no air conditioning, dead bodies. And the family kept living in the house. But the second autopsy, the doctor cut off their heads and boiled them so we could get the skulls to really get a good look. And the gashes kind of look like they were most likely from an axe or hatchet. I honestly am not really sure the difference. Now, back to Lizzie being assumed as the murderer. At the time of the crimes, and I'm saying crimes because technically it was two separate ones. The mom died earlier and the dad died later. Like when they found the dad's body and he was still warm, the mom's body was already cold. So she had been dead for a few hours probably. But the only people home who could have committed these murders were Lizzie and her maid Bridget, and her maid Bridget was seen outside all morning and day cleaning the windows and talking to some other maid. So the only person inside was Lizzie, according to actual fact. There's all types of suggestions and ideas that maybe it could have been someone else. And during the trial, fingers are pointed at basically everyone. There were theories that it was Jack the Ripper come over from England. Although as far as I know, caves smashing ins aren't his thing. It was more like cutting open bodies. There was another one that Mr. Borden had an illegitimate son and Lizzie covered for him after he murdered her parents. And there was another more likely story or idea that her uncle had done it because her uncle had been staying in the house with them during that time period.
Did John kill you?
But he had conveniently gone to someone else's house during the murders and had very convenient alibis the entire time. Also, they were pretty racist during this time. They did a lot of accusing by ethnicities also. Also, the rhyme is not super accurate. It says that she axed her parents 40 and 41 times. It was more like 10 and 18. Or about that. And there were so many theories on motives. But the main thing about this trial is they could never lock it down that it was Lizzie. And even when her stories had inconsistencies in them, that was dismissed during trial because she was so freaking drugged up. It was back in the days when doctors would just prescribe you opium and you could just wander around your days drugged up, and the doctors had her on double doses of opium. So when they actually did talk to her, some of her stories were low. As far as motives go, they pinned it down that she most likely just wanted the money to move to the nicer part of town that she had always wanted to do. Also, in the late 1800s, they had electricity and working toilets, but her father was so chintzy with money, they did not. So I had a really great time. The tour was really cool. Found out more information that I didn't know. And I do want to come back. So there was a shirt that I wanted to get that said I survived the Lizzie Murder House or something. But I didn't get it because I didn't realize that it said I survived the night. And I still want to come back another time and stay the night. Also, there is one room that has its own bathroom. Because I ended up not staying because the friend I was staying with didn't want to share bathrooms, but there is one room that you don't have to share. So that's the one I want to do in the future. Well, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. Stay spooky.